Alright, now it's time to go figure out what our $5 purchase got us. An old red here. So I figure we'll go pull this into the garage and we'll start doing some troubleshooting and see if we get this guy all fired up and back up and running. So let me get her up on the lift and sit you guys up on a little stand and let's have at her. Yes, the first thing I did was pop the plug out of it, and I noticed it's got a brand new spark plug in it. So I figured somebody was here before who just figured they would try that. So we're gonna go check and see if we got spark. I see no spark. I want to make sure that there's not a kill switch that is on in some fashion too, causing it to ground out. Let's double check. It's on the throttle part of it. Don't see anything there. Yeah, so we got no spark. This motor's probably old enough to have points now, which is suspect that the points are the issue. And then the other issue is the fuel tank and the stalactites that are growing on the inside of it. So that's going to be an issue too. But we'll take first things first and we'll try to figure out why we do not have spark. What I'm going to do before I go anywhere is there's a ground wire right there. We're just going to go pull that off, and that just kind of disconnects the mag from its off position from the back side. There's a little sweep that comes in and touches that and shorts it out. So we're just going to disconnect that, make sure that there's nothing going on over here that is an issue. I also see it's missing the bolt on the bottom of the bracket. So I'm going to double check that, make sure that it still doesn't have spark with that, and then we're going to start yanking the pull start off and looking to get to the mag and the points and see if we got an issue down in there. So I got the tin off of there, and you can see the mag sitting right there, and the wire that I disconnected and tried for spark still has no spark. You can see it runs behind the flywheel, so that is an indicator that it does have points behind it. So we got to go in a little further and get to those cruddy ass points and see if we can get them cleaned up. What this has is this screen, this pull start ratchet, pawl, whatever you want to call it, is also the nut. So this whole assembly has to spin off of here. What I'm going to do is remove these 4 little screws, and we're going to jam this up and grab it with a big pair of water pumps and spin this backwards as off as one big assembly. So that's out of my way. I got a big screwdriver stuck down in one of the fins. We're going to go give her a tug and see how it is. The steel ones are pretty resilient. Definitely want to stay away from the aluminum ones. You'll snap them off. Be careful, these can open up on you too, and there's a bunch of check balls in there. Not that it's terrible to put back together, but just being forewarned. This is on the taper shaft. So we're going to come up behind it with a little brass persuasion. I'm going to wrap on the end of it, but we're also going to put pressure behind the flywheel, and it should just pop. Underneath here is our points and condenser. I'm going to blow some of the crap off of here before I open that up, and then I'll bring you back when we have that cover removed. I'm not quite sure how well you can see, but I'm looking right here on these points, and the camera should pick it up. You want fuzzy. Anyway, to me they are looking a little on the fuzzy green side, so we're going to go drag a file across those a couple of times, clean them up. I'm going to go pop the flywheel back on and just spin it lightly with the plug out and see if we regain spark. So I just shoved the cover. The flywheel and everything's put together okay, but I just stuck the cover on, no screws in it. Just want to check and see what we got. Spin her over a little bit. Not sure if that's showing up, but we got a little sparky right there, so that's good. That makes that so that recovers. So what I'm going to go back and do is might as well just button all this stuff up, and just got to put that screen back on there, and then screw the cover back on after I blow her out with a little bit of compressed air. And then we're going to go dump a little bit of fuel in the top of it and see if she fires. Alright, moment of truth. Let's see if it responds by blowing a bunch of smoke at you guys. Making brum bum noises and then drop off after about 10 seconds. Yeah, 3 seconds. Good enough. So she'll be a runner. So now we got to deal with the cruddy ass fuel system. I also noticed too, it looks like the fuel tank might be leaking a little right there. So hopefully I got some donor stuff. If not, we'll have to patch where we got to go patch. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's get that tank off, get that carburetor apart, and see what the insides look like. Alright, so I got the tank out of the way. It's sitting down over there on the bench. But just kind of wanted to show what is going on the underside of this. Not quite sure what that stuff is. But that's not good. The way these carbs work is they have a fuel pump, a pulse pump on the back side of the carb. I'll show you that in a minute. But this is the pickup tube. It draws it up in through there, has a constant flow, and drops it back down in this tube. Actually, in a hole above it, down into a cavity that's inside the gas tank, and then draws it back from this tube instead of just using this one directly. I don't know if that'll show up over here, but you can see like that hole, you can see all the way down to the bottom of the tank, and then this one you can only see down, about 1.5 inches or so. That's that one that I was talking about. It kind of drops it into there and draws the fuel from that. So that essentially is the float bowl, so to speak, and then it's got like an overflow. I don't know if you can be able to see it. Anyway, there's a passageway. Once it fills up to a certain level, it just dumps back into the fuel tank again. So that's how that works. And then it works off of a pulse from the crankcase for that guy right there where those 5 screws are. I believe that is your fuel pump right there, and again, it makes that flow kind of go around. Sometimes with these motors, you get them and you're having a hard time starting them. What you want to go and do is fill the tank all the way to the top so that you're filling that cavity instead of you having to try to pump it over to try to get it to fill that. And again, if you have one of these and you're running it and you have a full tank, it drops down below here, and all of a sudden you're running out, it runs and dies, then you're not pumping fuel going around. So I think I do a little show and tell on the fuel pump part of it. So here's that big pickup that I was talking about. It goes up into the side of the carb, and that is your intake right there. And what happens is, as the engine pulse is happening, this little guy pumps itself up and down, and it draws fuel through there, and it exits the fuel out through that passage, and that passage is, I think it's that one or that one. I want to say it's that one, but I'm not positive. Anyway, what it does is it dumps back into the that little reservoir I was just talking about, and then this will draw as needed into the carb. So that gasket is a little on the stiff side. Not totally frozen, but I have a feeling it's may have seen better days. I may have to order one of those on good old Flea Bay. So we're gonna go soak this in the tank and see if we can get it as clean as possible. Blow out all the passages. Take the main jet out, the air fuel jet mix out of it, so that passage can be cleaned out too. And let this guy soak for a while, and hopefully it comes back. We can again, as I said, run it with filling the tank up to that point to see if it'll operate. And I could always put this replace this kit later. You can do it while it's on the motor. Most of it's going to be trying to get that gas tank clean is probably the biggest issue. All right. if you could smell it now. It's a good vintage. I'm giving it 25 to 30 years cycling through hot and cold. Yeah, smells as good as it looks. Did I ever tell you it pays to be a hoarder? And that little plastic bin right there went through and found ourselves a matching carb kit for that. So we got all the bits and pieces for that carburetor in stock. Imagine that. So again, we're still going to let this thing soak in the ultrasonic cleaner probably overnight, and I'll pick it back up tomorrow. But that won't make a difference to you now, will it? Because it'll just be instantaneous. Alright, so it's the next day, and we got the carb. Was soaking overnight, and we're going to go in the process of blowing that out and rinsing out and shooting air through all the passages and try to get them clear, and we'll put the rebuild kit into it, and hopefully that comes back with no issues. And the tank, we're trying to go deal with the tank, so I sat that in the parts washing solution overnight, filled, and then let that drain back out. Then took my pressure washer and went in through the big inlet and kind of shot my pressure washer all around and kind of blasted off all the heavy, crusty kind of rust that was on there, and got that out of there. Blew it out with compressed air, and now we have hydrochloric acid in there, of course with rubber gloves and all the kind of safety kind of doodads, because you don't want to get that on you. That would be for a nasty, and even the fumes too. Anyway, so it's filled to about right here, but most of the rust is from there down too. But I'll take it, I'll kind of rock it a little bit with the lid on it, and I don't believe it takes all that long for that to do its job, and then of course that'll just get poured right back into there, and we'll save that for the next rusty tank. The only problem with doing that is the tank has a tendency to scale up fairly easy after that, and you have to neutralize it with water too when you're done. But not that it matters with this tank anyway, but generally there's a coating on the inside of the tank that kind of helps prevent it from rusting. That goes away, but obviously this one's gone anyhow. What else I want to say about that? Oh, so I guess I'm just going to get going on blowing out the carb kit, getting that ready to rock and roll. Get the carb done, rather, and getting that ready to go. And then we'll rinse this out and go forward. I don't know what I want to say. But if it stays with fuel in it for the most part, it does not rust. It'll stay pretty good. So let me get it getting. Alright, so it's probably about an hour and a half I left that thing soak. And it's done an okay job. Let's see what you can see in there. You can see bare metal. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you see bare metal. I see a little bit of crap here and there. But much better than what it was. Big hunky flakes. So you're gonna dry it out. Get rid of any moisture that's in there. Heat's kind of your friend. I still can see a little bit more in the corner there. So I'm going to go hit that a couple of times and try that tank out best as possible. And then I'm going to assemble the carburetor on the top of it. The gasket's got to come off. How if I point the camera at what I'm looking at? Right. Anyway, so that's got to come off. We're going to go clean that surface up. And what's good about this carburetor is it doesn't pick up off the bottom. The pickup tube is away from the bottom a bit, and it probably half inch or 3/8 of an inch or so from the bottom of the tank, so it's not sucking all the water and the sludge and everything that's directly on the bottom. Kind of gives it a fighting chance not to suck the water up, whereas a lot of tanks has a bung coming right out of the bottom, so it takes every last little bit of crap with it. So there's no fuel filters in these, other than there's a screen on the bottom of the pickup tube. That guy right there. So that goes in the tank like a there, and you can see the little bit of a difference there is between the bottom of the tank and the actual pickup tube itself. We get her cleaned up, put her back together, and see if we can make some noises. Alright, I got it all back together again. There's probably about an inch of fuel in the bottom of it, and again, those systems have to kind of prime themselves, so I'm going to help it along instead of me yanking 10,000 times. We're just going to give her a little, and hopefully it gets enough to get it going and go right around. The gas just pissed right out of the bottom of it. That ain't a good sign. Oh, you know what? It dumped out the back of the choke. Let's see what happens. Let's try some choke. Slow the idle down, see how it'll idle. Awesome. I don't have the kill wire put on it. But it seems like it's doing pretty good, huh? It's got oil in it. I checked that already. I just want to let it run and get a little hot before I dump that out. I dumped the fuel in it. Just dribbled out the back of the choke. I thought that it was leaking at the base gasket. But it's not. It should be pumping fuel. Sometimes you can actually see it. Let me see if I can do it. Hold on. Let me get it running again. I'll turn you back on. So what that is, that's that fuel pump circulating the fuel, filling up that cup I was talking about, and then it dribbles out an overflow and just maintains that float level in there. So seems like the pump's working good. So that should be just fine for us. Tank doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look like the fuel turned any kind of funky colors on us. That's a good sign. All right, so I'm going to just kind of button some stuff up, and we'll start change the oil in it, and we'll start looking into the the implement part of the implement. Yeah, that's it. Ew. That's dirty. I kind of like to let it spin the first time. It doesn't have a pump in it anyway, so it's just kind of splashing on the inside and kind of loosen up all the sludge and try to get it to drop out all at the same time. Hey, the oil's changed in it. I popped the cover off, took a quick look at the belts. The belts actually don't look too bad. I spun the idler pulleys, they're both free. So I figure we're just going to go fire it up, and we'll grab a lever, and we'll see how the tines and everything turn. It has that's like in gear and forward. You pull it backwards, it pulls on the other belt. That's reverse. It just kind of backs itself away. then this rod right here, this one, I believe locks and unlocks the axles to make it turn. So it should start up, have them be in neutral until I do that, then the tines should turn. And to make the wheels go, I'd have to hit the other lever. I'm more concerned with the tines at the moment. So let's go stop talking and see if it'll go. Looks like everything works. Looks like everything works. I'm going to go over to the pressure washer now and put the cover off and see if we can blast off all the heebie-jeebies off of it and get a better look. And we can stick it in the ground, dig up some dirt. What do you think? Hey, I'm back in the woods. Like, I know part of my yard I want to go till up. I know it's kind of rooty and rocky back here, but should be for a good test for it. So, see what we get. Not tightened down on the belt all the way. Belt's slipping. Give me why it's doing that. See what it's got for adjustments. What does it have to do? It has to push harder on that. Right? So that would mean take this spring tensioner and run it down that way so it pushes the rod more that way. Is that what I want? Yeah, I want that more like that. So yeah, go get ourselves an Allen wrench and give that a tweak. That's my driveway with rock and gravel. I didn't want to put it in gear because it wants to run away, but it ain't stalling out now. That should do it. Just had to do some tweaking of the linkage. Had to back that guy out a little bit to make it go a little further and push. This had nothing to do with it. Tighten the nut up on the bottom there and the nut up there. Got rid of a bunch of the slack, and this guy was out of tweaked a little bit. Gave that a little tweak and gives full tension now. Does what it should do. So now I just gotta kick in my driveway she should be good to go. I'm not going to bother painting it or anything like that. Probably just leave it like it is. Again, it's elderly. It's allowed to show its age. So probably going to wrap this one up here. Again, thanks for watching, commenting, and subscribing. And let's go work on another piece of power equipment.